welcome to the Black Man Games podcast, the Halo SpoilerCast episode. We have 3 people on the show.
All who've played it. I've beat it twice now.
I need to play through it again.
I just did it the one time, but
and get.
Did it on heroic, so.
Here's a good question to ask, Allan.
Yep.
Yeah. When you play Halo Infinite, do you lose like one of your saves?
No.
Or is it no? You still have access to your heroic save?
If you go into when you boot it up, if you boot it up right now, you can go to campaign, go load, and you'll see where you've got your files saved.
Okay.
And it shows a percentage of completion. And I know my heroic one is at 99%, and I'm like, it's because I missed the 2 skulls at the start of the game. That's why I only have a 99%, and I'm so mad about it.
Because there's no mission select.
No, it's that, and there's a couple other things like, once you get all the towers, all the squads saved, all the high value targets, the HVTs.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get all that done, you get, I think, once you find all the skulls, you have to do 4 skulls on the missions that you're on.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that, but I'm also upset that you can't do reruns of it. I would love for it to be unlocked so that you can go, hey, if I'm in my overworld map, I can select the maps, the
missions, and redo them.
Yeah, and just rerun them.
At least
from the start.
allow something at the end of the doing the main campaign.
The story.
Yeah.
I do suspect that that's because the suspected DLC that's going to be coming out in a couple months.
Well, so we were talking a little bit about Halo Wars 2. I really hope that Halo, they bring in the Spirit of Fire, because I love the Spirit of Fire. It's my favorite ship in Halo. The Infinity is fucking trash tier, in my opinion.
No,
it's literally the worst.
No, the Infinity is actually a pretty nice ship. It's just that it's tied to Halo 5. That's why everybody has a little bit.
And Halo 4.
No, Halo 4 is a little bit less egregious problem.
Well, Halo 4, the Infinity to me is this. The Infinity is the ship to end all ships, and the Spirit of Fire is just oh, it's cute.
Well, you gotta remember, the Spirit of Fire is, I think, half a kilometer smaller than the... But it's also a ex-colony ship retrofitted. It's
for war.
It's 200 years out of service, or I think it was 50 years out of service when it got pulled out of the mothball fleet, retrofitted, and then sent off to fucking harvest. Yes. If I remember correctly, I think it was something like that.
Spirit of Fire is a Phoenix class support vessel in service of the UNSC Navy. Built in 2047-3, Spirit of Fire is a heavily modified colony ship. In 2050-31, her commanding officer was Captain James Cutter, and her primary shipboard AI was Serena. All crew were sacrificed to her slips. After the crew sacrificed her slip space drive to destroy the Forerunner shield world known as Atriax, Spirit of Fire was forced into a slow return trip back into human space at a subluminal velocity.
Yeah.
And was officially declared lost with all hands. So it was a colony ship, and that's why I love it. Is that's something that happened in the world.
That's something that happened in the war. Yeah, it's such a great little thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I just love the idea of the Spirit of Fire. But we all played through Halo Infinite.
Yeah. And that's what this cast is about. Well, we can touch on everything else. Let's talk about problems with the story first.
No. Let's
we'll start with the bad.
We have to let's introduce ourselves.
I guess.
So I'm Jeff. And then let's talk about what we liked. Did we enjoy the story? This is a yes/no question.
I'm okay with the story.
Okay. I'm okay with the story.
I'm
Jeff.
Allan, and the other person here is
Zip. Brendan.
Yo.
Brendan, are you okay with the story?
I thought it was decent.
Okay.
It's definitely better than 4 and 5.
Well, yeah.
And I would probably put it on par with 3, mostly because I don't like the story in 3, but it's it's on that story level of like Reach and 3. Like it's decent. It's not obtrusive.
It's not as good as ODST, and it's not as awful as like 5.
Yeah.
It's in that mid part where you're like, oh, this is like what I expected from Halo.
4 is just below this. And then the only reason why is that is because of the Chosen One thing, and they make Master Chief talk too much in 4. Just a bit too much.
Yes.
Whereas in this one, he talks just enough, and it's never like long sentences. It's always like really like 1 or 2 lines, and the only time you hear him talk long is that one cutscene on the AA Island. And it's very like this is the facts of why I'm like this. This is why I'm like this, and it's just it takes as long as it has to, but it's not longer than it needs to be. Like, I think the strength of that scene is because you were always like, well, they need to make Chief like
no, they don't.
Because I remember our podcast when you were talking about 5 and stuff like that.
Oh, Chief needs to be a blank slate. Yes.
No. When we were talking, because I was like, no, Chief doesn't need to be a blank slate. Chief has a character. Chief does have a character. He's the stoic, always go forward guy. He's his character is actions speak louder than his words. That's why he doesn't talk too much. Again, think about Halo 2. Chief, what are you doing with that bomb, sir? We're giving it back to the Covenant. That's his line. That's the whole thing. It's such a badass line, and it's
He's
such
mission first.
Yeah,
right?
he is mission first. He is task at hand. He's actions speak louder than his words. He's stoic. He's short and to the point, which is what the Spartans were. Believe it or not, that's actually something that the Spartans were really, really, really well known for, is their quick, short wit. They were like, there's a scene in the comic after Halo 4 came out where he's gotten back to human space and he's talking with Admiral Hood, and Admiral Hood's like, well, I would love to make you an admiral after all this time. You've clearly deserved it. And he just kind of they're having a conversation about like politics and stuff like that, and he's just like, unfortunately, I don't think Admiral would have the same. I don't think the Admiral would be as powerful of a statement. And they were like, and Hood stops and looks at him from him, was like, was that a joke, son?
Yes.
And it's because it's Spartan wit, because they're like, and if you don't know your history,
they're military, and like their kids raised in military doctrine.
Yeah, and the thing is, well, the reason why I keep going back to like actual Spartan wit is because there was one point where King Philip of Macedon, the one right before Alexander the Great, was like, if I conquer your territory, this is what's going to happen. He listed off like 4 or 5 different things, and the Spartans responded with a single word: if. And then Macedon didn't go into Sparta. For good reasons. But like he's, all of his dialogue's fairly solid. The only thing that I find weird about like the Halo Master Chief's dialogue, and the only thing I don't like about the story, is 6 months.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I wouldn't have been against like maybe 2 at most.
I was kind of watching somebody else's video and like their opinion on it. It's like, how can his suit support him for 6 months in the vacuum of space?
It can support him if his metabolism is slowed down to a crawl. But it's like the science behind that is like,
there's so many questions, and
you would have muscle atrophy on top of that. You would have slight muscle atrophy. It wouldn't be like 6 months is a long time, but it would be like you still have muscle atrophy. You would be malnourished. You would need food, so like add water. So like unless your suit was like doing something where it was constantly like pumping up your vitals, and like it was maintaining your metabolism and doing something along the line and maintaining nourishment somehow, you're pretty much kind of fucked a little bit there, man. But it's like, it's kind of explained in like sci-fi shit. Well, like it's mentioned and then never brought up again, and never explained. It
happens like, it's such a quick line, like 6 months, 6 months, 6 months, and I'm like, the moment you stop and think about that kind of like throws a little bit of a wrench in it. What I would have preferred is maybe a month, or maybe instead of making it the Infinity was the first ship there, and Master Chief showed up with another ship after doing a task, because we do hear about what happened on Earth later in the campaign with the Battle of Sydney. Maybe the Infinity could have gone to the ring in pursuit of trying to make early headway, leaving before Chief got there. All the Spartans go ahead of Chief. Chief is on Earth doing cleanup. They take Chief and say, "Hey, we're sending you after this." Dr. Halsey's got a weapon on board the Infinity. You're taking the ship. Oh my God. They have, because I can't name their ships because some of them are like the cruiser classes are named after certain poems. Same with all their frigates. Their corvettes are named after battles, and like they actually have like a really cool UNSC naming system. Because Forward Unto Dawn is actually like a very famous poem. Same with, I do believe Pillar of Autumn is actually from a poem, but I think it's from a biblical or a religious poem, but I can't remember which one it is. But like you could say like, hell yeah, he showed up. They didn't know about the Banish, because the Banish like take Infinity in just minutes.
4 minutes.
Yeah. Oh no. And that would have been great. Like Master Chief showing up, his ship gets knocked out.
I would have liked, it would have been interesting. Okay, so here's my theory about that. Because they've done this thing with time. They're doing this thing with time on the ring. They're saying this ring is different. The ring can do something that we don't know.
Well, no, that is their comment of every ring is different. And I've read books and stuff like that. Pillar of Autumn. I need to find out where this poem comes from.
But like, it would have been interesting if the explanation for the reason why Chief was gone for 6 months was because of the ring. And it would have been interesting because they've mentioned something at the end where they say offensive bias has been deployed in the legendary ending, which for Halo canonical fans is a pretty fucking big deal. But that's like the only explanation I can come up with for like the reason why Chief was gone for 6 months. If that makes sense.
Yeah. But like it's just little weird things that happen. I wouldn't have mind as much if it had been done a little bit better, where like, because Echo 216 Fernando, that's his name, by the way,
the pilot.
Brohammer.
Yeah.
A lot of people like him, a lot of people don't like him, and it's for
I love him.
It's actually fairly really good. Because I actually enjoyed him, although he does complain just a bit too much. I think that he needed to have his like moment of realization that Chief isn't gonna like give up on this job a little bit sooner, and maybe when he picks you up for the AA mission, he's like in this kind of moment of panic of like holy shit, trying to keep himself together, and then that's the moment of breaking. But it's like all the way up to that mission right there. He's constantly complaining throughout it, all the way up to that point. And then he still complains a little bit afterwards, but he's not as, like, tentative. But it still appears, and it's a little, like... I would have preferred, like, if it was just, like... it would have... maybe, like... Not... I don't know. The way I don't know how to word it.
But you gotta admit, it's like... Given the dude's backstory... Like, he's not even in, like, an actual soldier. He's just a freaking engineer.
He's a civilian contract engineer.
Yeah, no wonder he's panicking.
I love that fact, because I always kind of stopped and I'm like, yeah, you know, the UNSC can't actually employ all these, like, there's no way that everybody on the ship, on all these ships, are actually Marines. And naval officers. There's no way, because that's not how even in the modern world our navies work. A lot of the U.S. Navy and a lot of the Canadian Navy and the British Navy, they do have civilian contractors on their ships for maintaining the engines, stuff like that. Like they are civilian departments. It's actually really cool. And the moment I learned that, I was like, oh, that's a cool touch. But Brohammer, I think my only problem with him is he just complains a little bit too much. Great character.
my issue with him is a lot more behind, like, he is the entirety of him. His character arc is, I am somebody who should not be in a situation doing extraordinary things, and it's interesting because you see him evolve as a character, and it would have been more interesting to if he got a little bit more like time in the sun, like where like he's like, I found you, I saved you, I did all this stuff. It would have been more interesting if like he was like, look, I've saved you like multiple times, like at this point, like, can you please like stop getting into trouble or something along those lines? But like that never happens.
No,
and like he's also like one of those characters who gets really grateful when he is saved.
Yeah, I think one of my biggest, like I said, I'm going to keep griping on his complaining, is his complaining comes out of like right after like some of the most like dangerous situations that he's ever been in, and he's not grateful about anything. And I'm just like, oh, man, you are such a cunt. And if I had Fohammer back, I would take her over you any day because she was such a babe.
She was Space Mom.
She was. Well, that's actually a really funny joke, but I'll explain that one after.
Okay, but like Brohammer would have been great if like he was like just constantly like Chief like it's like calm down, and he's like screaming like what the fuck.
No,
like
I don't think that. I think that would have made him less because I think that would have actually like made more people dislike him. Like I said, my only gripe about him is he just complains a bit too much, and that's not a big thing because like again, given his background, as Zip says, it makes sense. But even I'm like, yeah, but you're on the Infinity, and you've already gone through this shit twice with Halo 4 and Halo 5 because Halo 5, the Infinity was like a super active ship. Like you did 4 missions with the Infinity being present. The first mission with Locke, the second 2 missions with Locke, and the first Guardian, and then going to Sang Helios.
Halo 5 I just consider a spin-off at this point.
Yeah, but that's because it's bad.
Yeah.
But
well, let's put it like this: the gameplay is fine.
The gameplay's mostly
but
fine.
It's just not Halo.
It's just not Halo.
I am glad I got to play that like the whole like 1 to 4 with you, Allan.
Yeah.
Before.
You mean Reach through 4?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think overall, my biggest concern with Halo 5, or not Halo 5, Halo Infinite, is actually something that I've griped on the show about before.
Mm-hmm.
Gee, I wonder what I'm missing. Because I've now seen more things that have made me more bothered. Because there's a really cool carbine that got shown off recently that was leaked from the game files. They're like, oh yeah, here's the Covenant, the Fallen carbine. And like, there's 3 versions of it. There's clearly the Specialist Officer one. And then the other 2, one has an energy blade underneath. Like, it's meant for like the brutes to like smack someone. So it's meant to be like a mid-range.
Like
well, that game has like a fucking gold mine of things. Like people have found like LMGs that were supposed to be brute weapons.
Like, and as much as I love the idea of brutes using human weapons, like the brute, not majors, captains, the ones who use the rocket launchers, I love them because I'm like, yeah, no, that would absolutely, because of course they would use rocket launchers, and I love the fact that they also use the Hydra and the I don't know what the other weapon is.
given the time period, like it makes sense that they would have scavenged all those.
Oh yeah, I know. But the problem for me is I'm just like Spiker, brute shot, fuel rod cannon, carbine. Where are my weapons?
I want more weapons. Give me weapons.
Yeah, it's not like I don't even care if they don't show up in multiplayer. I wouldn't care if they were only campaign only, where it's like, yeah, no, we can't fit them into this multiplayer sandbox, so we've restricted them from that until we can figure out a better place for them. And we put all the brute weapons that are like really good for the campaign, like the Spiker, the brute shot. Like, I like the Ravager. The Ravager needs to go back a bit in nerf. It needs to get buffed a bit because holy shit, it's useless. Same with the Commando. No, not in campaign, but in multiplayer. You know, and if you see somebody who uses the Ravager, they don't know what the Ravager is, and they like.
The Ravager is like okay, but like it definitely I could use a buff. The Commando I feel like is fine because there's like times where I just go on like killing sprees. But like the main thing I have an issue with is like I have no issue with the weapon selection that they have in the game. I think the weapons are fine because they're really well polished weapons.
Oh yeah,
at the end of the day.
I agree there. Yeah, they are exceptionally well polished weapons. I think one
thing I found funny though is there's grunts that were carrying around power weapons.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love the grunt mules. Oh, I love them. They're great. I think
It's like weapons bigger than you, dude.
Yeah. Well, that's why they are. They're mules. They're supposed to carry this shit around for fucking whoever tells them to.
I would honestly what I would like them to do is I would like them to like give us skins of like certain weapons that are not in the game. So like instead of having a plasma repeater, I have a spiker.
No, because that would change the model and it would change like how the hitbox would register and stuff like that. So like again.
Actually, I thought that was one weapon they data mined and
no, it's in the game.
It's in the game. It's in the game files.
The spiker, the fuel rod, the carbine, and the brute shot.
The LMG.
And the LMG. Well, no, the saw or whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called.
The saw gun.
Saw gun. They're all in the game. They're all in the game file. The saw looks like the Halo 5.
That's why I said data mined. Like,
the fuel rod gun is actually used in game. It's used by the hunters. That's where that profile is. That's the hunter profile. It's not the Ravager that they're using. They're using the fuel rod because you know it from the way that they because they don't always burst fire and they don't always charge. They fire one shot at one point and it doesn't do that area of effect. It just does a blast. So that's the fuel rod cannon. So all right. And even when they do charge, it doesn't leave the area effect thing behind. It's the fuel rod cannon. And it's actually a little. I'm like, oh come on, you guys have it. It's in the game. Just give it back to the grunts. Give it back to some of those. Although I am happy that there are now 5 types of brute chieftains because fuck you, you need to adapt way harder. And I'm so hyped about that because like, I also love the fact that the brutes have their own dismountable weapon.
Yep.
The scrap launcher. I was like, yo, what? Because I saw that get data mined a few days before the game came out, and they're like, oh, this is a really cool weapon. It must not be in the game because like it's not in multiplayer. And then I ran into my first brute using it, and I was like, wait, what? Picked it up. I was like, what? And then I started shooting it. It was a spin-up weapon. I was like, yo,
oh yeah,
why isn't this in multiplayer? This is cool. And then I started using it, and I'm like, now I know why this isn't in multiplayer.
Because it fucking is overpowered.
Broken. Yes.
It's just, oh my god, it's explosive rapid fire. Oh my god, it's basically a grenade launcher. It's great.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that there's a brute chieftain like that. There's a brute chieftain with a plasma cannon. There's a brute chieftain with a hammer. There's a brute chieftain with not with the Ravager. What? Oh my god, he doesn't have the rocket launcher. He doesn't have the Ravager. He has something else. I'm trying to remember what it is. It's not the
No, going through, I got the upgraded Ravager. It felt like it made it worse.
Yeah, it's actually like I'm like all the other upgrades, like all this other specialty upgrades.
No, because the sniper rifle is pretty fucking bad.
No, you know what it's for?
It's for close range.
No, it's not. It's for mid range.
Oh, it's a mid-range sniper rifle, and it's
a mid-range sniper with 10 shots.
Yeah.
Which, just blows through armor.
Yeah.
It's an anti-armor sniper rifle. It's terrible against shields. You don't use it against elites. I actually picked up both snipers, and I went out and took a test on them. I fired on a brute captain with a shield, with the armor with 10-shot one, and it took me in legendary. Or on heroic, sorry. 2 shots to get through the shield at mid range, compared to 1 with the regular sniper rifle. But against Vehicles.
Yeah.
I hit a Banshee, and it started to go through the Cataclysm effect. Straight off the bat. I was like, oh, cool. That's a cool thing to know.
So it just murders the Banshee.
Yeah, like, well, then again, you only need to hit a Banshee twice with a sniper rifle, and it goes through Cataclysm.
Well, okay, does anyone else feel like the weapons are just, like, the vehicles are just, like, paper-thin armor?
They're all but the Hornet. And the Scorpion, sorry. The Scorpion, the Wraith, and the Hornet are all properly beefy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they all need a little bit of a buff up in HP. I think the Banshee should have a shield. Like like I don't mind that the Banshee's weak. I don't mind. I think that the Hornet needs to be tanky like that, but the Banshee needs to be like it needs to have a shield. And then once you pop that shield, it takes like 1 or 2 sniper hits and it blows up. But the shield is a recharge shield. There you go.
It feels like as if like they that was something in Halo 2 and 3, and then it's not there in like this game, and it's like I wish it was there.
It does show up in campaign.
Yeah,
I fucking love when you first see it. What are those? Banshees. Because I first saw, I was like, wait, what? There's Banshees around. I turn around, there's 2 of them flying at me. I'm like, oh, fuck off, game.
And the part that like is so cool about it is like you can just skyjack them.
Yeah. Oh, it's I skyjacked both those, but it took me such a long time to get them to come close enough for me to skyjack them. I was like, fuck off, fuck off.
Shooting your grapple at them.
That looks close enough. Nope. Fuck. And then you have to like run around because the moment you try to skyjack them and you fire too early, the AI is actually super smart in this game for the most part. There's a couple
thing about the
grapple. What was that, Zip?
Sorry.
No, go
The thing
ahead.
about the grapple is that you can know when something's close enough when you have a yellow indicator in the middle.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
But for me, when I was because I only noticed that like when I started getting towards the end of my first playthrough, I was like, that's how they make that indicated. That's a little it's just a little small, but it's like I didn't even notice it up until like my right before I started the final 3 missions. When I noticed that, I was like, okay, no, that makes sense.
I noticed that playing the multiplayer.
No, I very rarely ever got the grapple. When I play multiplayer, I tend to get the drop shields because that's the path I seem to take is just going towards drop shields. Drop shields are great, by the way. That guy's got a sword. Drop shield. Fuck you. Because drop shields block swords and hammers, and it's fucking great.
You can shoot from behind them.
Huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you could. You can shoot through them too.
Can we talk a little bit more about the actual? Can we talk a little bit more about the story a little bit? Because I got a couple little things I want to talk about the story.
Go for it.
Yeah, I suppose this is the.
Oh, we just started going and we just kind of took ourselves.
Yeah, we just started talking about the sandbox, which I think everyone can agree. The sandbox is while we have complaints, is pretty fucking good.
Commando is great in campaign. Assault rifle's still great.
The sandbox is wonderful.
Yep.
I want to play with it more.
With the one big exception being the upgraded Ravager because it's terrible.
Yeah.
But then again, the Ravager's terrible, so nothing new.
Then again, we don't like the Ravager, but the game has problems, but the problems with it are not to the point where we're sitting there, we're going, this game is trash. We're not coming out of this Halo 5 where we're I hate this game. We're coming out of this game being I actually kind of like this game, even though it's not finished, and even though it has this problem, 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 even though store's trash,
problems,
and even though I don't like how this weapon's balanced, but I like how this weapon's balanced, and I like how this gun plays, and it's like we all can agree about that. But I want to talk a little bit about the story. Did you guys see? They really did a really good job tying up the created saga, I think. Per se.
The created saga that was all of one game.
The created saga that was literally started in 5 and then was ended
immediately cut short because it was so hated.
Because everyone hated it.
because they character assassinated a character that everybody beloved.
Yeah.
They managed to
They
fix
should have
that.
kept Cortana dead.
They managed to fix that for the most part. I'm not exactly a fan of some things that she does.
Yes.
Because I feel a bit like there she's a bit too cartoonishly evil.
Cortana?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. The fact that, like, she's, like, they should have just given her a mustache.
Yeah, a little square one.
She should have
Wow.
had the same
I'm
naked
not
outfit.
wrong, though.
No,
She
Yeah.
commits genocide
she does.
in the
She commits
most
multiple.
extreme way possible.
She literally goes up to Atriax and says, "You know the consequences of disobeying my orders." And Atriax is like, "I don't fucking care, bitch."
And then she blows up his planet.
Then
It's
blows
like,
up the
yeah,
planet,
okay.
yeah.
And now you're going to face the consequences of your own decision.
And
I'm like, how did you not see this coming? This is Atriax. You know, a character that the Covenant feared. Although as much as I love the Banished, there is a bit of a problem with the Banished. Is like how the Banished so strong, and they don't really fill that out properly.
no, they'd never explain that. Like, they should have explained that the Banished were. The Banished should have been the thing that the Covenant feared, because the Banished should have been like,
No.
just the elite of the elite, and they were only accepting the elite.
No. The problem is that in Halo 2 when they created the Banished, and this is the thing, like this is what saved Halo Infinite, is because the Banished got created by an entirely different team.
Well, Halo Wars 2, yes.
Yes, that's what I mean. That's what saved Halo Infinite, is because the Banished were made, and then Halo Infinite was being produced at the same time, and everybody loved Atriax, and they were like, and we're gonna take that and we're gonna run with it, because that's what we wanted our Covenant to be. We wanted them to be the big bad scary things again. But they needed to make sense, and as much as I love Halo Wars 2, there's a bit of a problem with the lore, the way that the Banished are founded and stuff like that, where like, oh, they initially started off as a ragtag group and stuff like that, and then they somehow became this thing that the Covenant couldn't get close to killing. And I would have preferred, like, after Atriax's uprising, maybe there's a front in the war where like they reached the edge of human colony systems and stuff like that, where like it was the outer edge of like the western periphery of the UNSC. There's another thrust going a little bit sideways beside it, still going inwards towards like Earth and stuff like that. And then Atriax has his uprising, and the entire fleet group that was going that way goes with him. And it's because and then Covenant's kind of like, all right, he's got a single fleet, and then a couple brute groups go with him, and then it's some disenfranchised or
you would have liked them to explain how Atriax kind of like
how
the Banished kind of
he gathered power.
Yeah.
And how he became like such a threat. And it didn't even need to be like, it could have been like it would have
been interesting if the lore behind that was like basically like it was something where he kind of watched Tartarus kind of die or something along those lines.
No, because Atriax turns against the
Covenant before Tartarus
before
and
that.
all
Like
of that. Yeah.
And the thing is I would have preferred if like Atriax was like, again, like we know he's a good commander. He's a cold, brutal, tactical commander. That's what his thing is.
Well, even Escharum is a cold, brutal, tactical commander.
Yeah. Again, like a lot of them are really good, and that's not my problem. Is I just want the Banished a bit more filled out for like how they came to power. Because I really love their idea. I really love their alternate vehicles that they got in Halo Wars 2, and I know that wouldn't work in Halo Infinite, but I want to see them in first-person shooter, because god damn it, they got some really cool weapons in Halo Wars 2.
I would have really liked it if what they did with the Banished, and this is just, hear me out when I say this, is if it would have been like something along the lines of like an offhand comment in like Halo, like if they added in an offhand comment in like Halo 3 or Halo Anniversary Edition, where they're like,
I think that would have undermined stuff.
Well, no, what I mean by that is like an offhand, like if they added in an offhand comment, because they're actively like, if they had said like, oh yes, the Banished exist, or something where there's an acknowledgement in the lore.
Where would you throw that in?
I mean, it doesn't make sense in 3. It definitely makes sense It makes a little bit of sense in 2.
It doesn't make any sense in 2. Where would you throw it in 2?
You throw it in where it's like the Arbiter is chasing the heretic, and it's basically like an offhand comment of like, "Oh, good thing we're not going after the Banished."
Okay, I'm gonna throw this out there. If you're in a theocratic state that wants to keep faith as the central pillar of the state, which it is, that's what the Covenant is. It's the theocratic state. why would you let anyone but those who needed to deal with that issue know about this situation? So why would the heretic know about this? And the heretic turned against the Covenant because
not the heretic, where it's like one of the elites just makes an offhand comment where it's like, good thing we're not going after the Banished.
No, again, like, because like
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, no,
like,
I know what you mean. Like, I know what you mean. You mean by the elite commando squad, but like, I don't think they would be scared of going after the Banished. They would be totally up for it. It's like, hey, maybe we can take down the Banished. Like, why would they be scared about it? Like, the Covenant the Covenant wasn't scared of the Banished. They just couldn't handle the Banished, and that's a different thing. Because well, you've got this massive uprising in your rear lines, and you're currently fighting effectively a two-front war. But my problem is that, like, in Infinite, they do a really good job. They introduce all the really cool. They introduce like the idea of the Banished creating Spartan Hunters, of like the best of the best of the best of the Banished. That's what the Spartan Hunters are. They are specifically trained to hunt Spartan 2s, 3s, and 4s. I love the fact that the leader of the Spartan Hunters is an elite, not a brute, an elite that everybody else in that group has to answer to. It's such like poetic.
I like the part where he gets the warrior's death.
The ghost,
and his boss fight isn't that bad.
Oh, his boss fight's great because although in normal I was just like kind of like strutting up to it. I'm like, can I cheese this fight? Because I just came from the previous area with a 100% chain gun, and I was just sitting there. I'm like, can I cheese this? And so I got up the thing, threw the chain gun in the room. I'm like, oh my god, I can cheese this! And I just threw it. I walked in, put it down beside where the thing is, started the cutscene, ended the cutscene, picked it up, popped the sensor, aimed the chain gun, and won the fight in about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I didn't know I could cheese that.
I spent time just grappling around the room.
Oh, and when I did it in heroic, oh my god, I got lucky because like I figured out how to beat him initially. I was like, okay, I need to disengage with him. I need to hit him when he charges at me. I need to move away from him. Like I need to use my thruster, I need to use my grapple, and I need to use sensor ping. That's the 3 things I need. I might need to do the drop shield because at that point I'd only just learned.
Do you know how many tries it took me?
I suspect somewhere in the around 50.
1.
On heroic?
Yeah, I think I believe I did it on my first try too. Wasn't an easy fight, but I think I did it on my first try.
When you figure it out, you're like, oh, okay, and like it's a really well designed fight because what it does is it plays into your sounds.
Yeah. Well, no, if you use the sensor ping, you'll pick him up earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I was doing.
And like you use threat sensor to, like you can be like, okay, he's coming from this direction.
Yeah.
And then you get the outline,
or if you get lucky
like, okay.
and land it right on him, you can't. Well, there are times where he just completely disappears. But
he despawns.
But on my 10th attempt on that fight, because I figured it out, but I just couldn't, like, I would move away from him, and then I would get, like, turn around, and he'd be right on top of me again. I would be like, fuck, all right. Because I was just, like, constantly just trying to get away from him while shooting my assault rifle at him. Because that's what I went in that fight with, was an assault rifle and a commando. Because I thought, like, I didn't think I was going into a boss fight there. Like, I walked into that room, I was like, oh, am I doing another fight? And then I didn't realize what the sensor was, because I was just like, where is this? What am I supposed to be doing here? Then I picked up the thing, and I was like, oh, this is a boss fight. Like, the moment the cutscene started, I was like, shit, this is a boss fight. That was the second one that I did that too, because Brassus was the other one where I went into that fight not expecting a boss fight. But I got him downstairs. Like, I went down the stairs, and I'm in the corner, and I popped the sensor pinger upstairs, and I popped a second one down the hall. And he appeared, and he came around the corner, and right beside me is the big fusion coil thing. And I was like, I shot, and I threw the grenade, and I shot again, and the fusion coil detonated, and it killed him. And I was like, thank you. I just picked up his sword, and I'm like, I'm going into this fight with a fucking energy sword. Fuck you.
There's a different story beat I'd like to talk about. So what about that Bastard Tree trying to delete the weapon.
Oh my god. That has so many lines in it because it's the passcode is Samuel's, who's the first Spartan
first
who
it was
died.
like red flag.
Yeah.
And
It's
then,
red flag 034 Samuel,
Yep.
which is one of the first Spartans who died.
Yeah, because that's
He dies he dies sacrificing
he
himself.
dies in one of the first
for a
contacts with
Covenant
the Covenant carriers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's great. And I was like, that's a really cool scene. Like they have so many good callbacks to previous games. Like
They do such a good job with
Dust
the
and
lore.
Echoes. We're supposed to protect humanity no matter the cost. That's a great throwback. Like there's so many good throwbacks in this game. But that deletion scene, I was sitting there and I watched it was happening. I was watching it as it was happening. I'm like, nope, this tracks for Chief. This tracks for Chief. And I actually saw some people comment in the section in a video section about it, and they were like, well, no, this is cold Chief. And I'm just like sitting there like, no, this is his mission. If she's compromised, he has to delete her because he can't risk another Cortana on the universe. And like nobody seemed to realize that when that scene was happening, because I was like watching, like, no, like I know she's Cortana. She's essentially a carbon copy of that, because that's what I was thinking. She's like, I figured that she was just like Dr. Halsey passed. They used Dr. Halsey's brain to make a new Cortana AI, which is what I thought. But then they explained
Halsey's not dead yet.
No, I know, because that's what I was.
Yeah,
that's how I was thinking of how it went.
And it's not like Chief like tried to play dumb when she caught on to him.
No, he just it's my mission.
I just thought it was like when it was happening, I was like, yeah, she's like compromised and like he should delete her. And then Chief just seems so pissed off. Like he's like the entire time he's like you were supposed to be deleted. Why are you not deleted? What the fuck?
No, it's not that he's pissed off. It's that he's like genuinely surprised that she's so much like Cortana that she rewrote her code. He's just like,
well, she didn't rewrite her code.
No, she did. She straight up.
Cortana rewrote her code.
Because she says,
I agree with Allan.
She says right after that, I rewrote that code when I found out about it. She then when says it.
And when she came to terms with it, like,
she reactivated
just before
it.
She enables it again.
Yeah.
It's
hold
like,
on.
Okay, you can delete me now, and then Chief's like, "Nah, we're gonna go save Fernando."
Well, no, that was right before Fernando.
That was, I believe, after.
No, yeah, that was after, because it was.
You save Fernando, and then you find out what happened to Cortana, and it's like really well explained.
Well, like when he got kidnapped.
Yeah, it's right after he gets kidnapped, but right before you save him. Like it's right before you get Sheila. If you've got that achievement, good job. Man, I'm so mad at Zip because Zip's got an achievement that I want because I was like,
an achievement I didn't realize I got until you mentioned it to me.
And that's the thing is, like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, I want that achievement because I don't even want it for like to have it. I just want to witness a brute yeeting a grunt. I just want to witness this because that's the achievement it is. It's called passing the gas. And all it requires a brute to throw a grunt at you, and you are supposed to shoot it out of the air and kill it. I have yet to stumble on any brute doing that, and I'm actually a little frustrated about it.
I was confused because Cortana was supposed to be locked down, and the weapons deletion protocol.
Yes, and that's how her protocol is.
That's the part I was confused by. Okay, yes, no, okay, that's on me. No, because I was like, that was like at 3 a.m. when that happened, and I was like, oh. So I must have not got that. But like, she is such a whiny little bitch when she's like, he tried to delete me. Look, he has friends, and the monitor fight, like during that monitor fight, and I was just like, yeah, you're pissed. Like, shut up.
No.
Yeah, you're rightfully so.
I have no problem with this because we know AIs because we've seen I think a total of 5 proper sentient AIs in the game. In the Halo series, and that's Serena, Cortana,
Roland.
I was about to call him Howard. It's Roland. The new character from
the weapon.
No, not in the weapon. The superintendent, because that was actually a proper full sentient AI.
Yes. The superintendent is a good one.
And as well as... Oh, I'm trying to remember her name from Halo
You mean
Wars 2.
Virgil? You mean Virgil from ODST, and then there was...
I'm trying to remember her name from Halo Wars 2, but she's another sentient AI.
Oh, Annabelle.
Is it Annabelle?
I think it's Annabelle. Hold on.
But yeah, we've seen a number.
She's not as cool as Serena.
No, she isn't. But she's pretty good. But that's the thing is like she's a logistics AI and
Isabel.
Isabel, yeah, thank you. There you go. Like Roland's a fleet carrier AI, so of course he's gonna be like this aviator, cocky, like really confident, capable, office like kind of like the gun ho like Navy pilot. So that's why he's like kind of like. Yeah, and like you see how he's like very cocky and confident. You hear Leonidas in Halo Infinite. That's another smart AI, and he's very professional, very straightforward, very like this is how it has.
When
to
is Leonidas ever mentioned?
In the cutscene where she blows up the Spartan Training Center.
What?
Yeah, Cortana.
Oh, you're talking about in Halo. You said Halo Wars 2. I was talking
I'm
about
talking about Halo.
Halo Infinite.
I was just going down the AIs and like how they're
and
how their personalities
Leonidas is mentioned, and then
he comments, he talks, and he's very straightforward. He's very professional. He's military grade. Then you have, of course, Cortana, which you have the two versions, being the weapon and
Cortana
proper. And you
1.0.
she's very she's like Cortana original, and it's the reason why I love Fall of Reach and.
Well, Cortana
Flood.
has always been this really interesting character because she's like, she's gone through a whole lot as a character and she's loved for a reason.
Yeah.
And she's just like, you kind of like see her and she's like, she evolved. And then in Halo 5, they just made her this fucking like stuck up psycho bitch.
Oh, yeah. No, I know.
That didn't work at all.
That didn't work. It could have worked, but it didn't.
It would have been more interesting if it was like the story was about Cortana finding Cortana.
No.
And then another AI being found.
No. I don't want to touch on Halo 5 because Halo 5 is a mess.
It's bad.
Weird version of a self-reflection story.
Yeah.
Finding yourself.
But then you can't have Chief as the main character, and we saw what happened with Halo 5 when they tried that.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying this game. I'm saying
no, I know, but that's the thing is like, I don't think it would work because like, the story for Cortana is kind of is honestly as much as I like this game, as much as I like the idea of like fighting off Escharim, taking on the Bash, retaking the ring, saving the UNSC's efforts here on the ring. It's really good and all solid. I think the Cortana stuff before she starts interacting with Atriax, like that little spiel, like where she's like attacking Earth, blowing up the Spartans, being what she became. I think that's the weaker part of that story. And I don't think it would have been a very good like story overall of like this self-reflective because she's so cartoonishly evil up until she actually starts like is confronted by Atriax where like she expects John. She's so cartoonishly evil up to that point.
Yeah. She's like, I'm just doing all this shit for attention, and then Atriax shows up, and she's like, oh fuck.
Oh, I got the wrong attention. But the other thing is that I'm gonna go back to the AIs. All the AIs have these like really unique personalities. Serena she has that sarcastic spiel about her, but she's very professional. Like I think my favorite line in that entire game is like, I'm sorry, I'm still trying to process the fact that we're inside a planet. And it's just like, yeah, that sounds about right. That is the correct response, Serena. Don't worry, I understand. Isabel being a logistics character that is like not made for combat, having a panic attack makes sense. And the fact that like he has to essentially override where like literally Isabel report and she snaps into AI mode and reports off this information.
Or the part where she's like, whoa, and you're like, like comfortable, and it's like never had Spartan side seats before, and man, Jerome is the best Spartan. I'm just gonna say this right now. I
would love to see Red Team show up again, but I don't know if it's gonna happen.
Red Team. No, it's not.
Well, we don't know because we know Black Team still exists, we know Red Team still exists, and we know that Blue Team. We know Blue Team. Blue Team's still out there.
Blue team should be if they made Blue Team the campaign co-op characters, I'd be okay with it.
I'd be okay with it, but at the same time, I'd be very worried about how they do it. Because of the one dialogue thing that came up. Mm-hmm. Because apparently Lasky deployed them somewhere else. Like, Halsey wasn't even on the Infinity when they went to the ring.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think with co-op, they should at least let you do the, like, custom, like, your multiplayer character.
Yeah. What did you guys think of the Harbinger?
Harbinger?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck that boss fight.
Harbinger?
Her as a character and her as a boss fight.
Yeah.
I liked it. No, sorry. It was that one fight that I wasn't ready for because we fought Bash bosses the whole game, and they were all straightforward, with the exception of
Eshram.
No, not Eshram. With the exception of the Spartan Hunter and the first elite boss you fight. The elite that, like, welcome to my tower, Master Chief, and then he goes invisible, and you're like, fuck, that kind of boss fight, go fuck yourself. And so you got, like, it's like, that was the point, is, like, he was supposed to be an echo. He was actually your first fight with the Spartan Hunter, without you even realizing you were fighting the Spartan Hunter, because he has the exact same...
Well, like, that was, like, the tutorial to, hey, use your
because
sensor.
It's so far later in the game, you don't even realize it. And then you have Brassus, and then you have the
Monitor.
Then you have the Monitor. The Monitor is the first Monitor to fight is so easy. I died once. I died once on Heroic, and I was just like, I felt so mad about it because it was such a dumb death because I threw a grenade and I bounced it off it and I threw it back in my face. I was like, fuck, and I just killed myself.
And the second one, the weapon Cortana is like,
fuck
hey,
you.
look, he has friends. He has friends.
Yeah, no. And on top of that, the arena changes shape. So if you duck behind cover, like one of those pillars, it will
just go down. And you're like,
just lowers, and you're like, shit. Grapple, go away, switch to thrusters, dash. Oh my god, that second fight on, like, I was like, oh, this is gonna be, it's just another boss fight. This will be easy. And I was like, I got through his first two arms, and then he started up the beam, and I dashed behind the pillar, and the pillar started lowering. I was like, wait, what?
Well, like, okay, so the Monitor is such a great character because, like, there's two Monitors in this game. There's the Monitor who asks you for assistance, who dies at the Harbinger Sand. The Harbinger assumingly kills her.
Yeah.
And then there's the secondary Monitor who I forget the name of. And he is so much like Guilty Spark, it's not even funny. Where he's like, you're going to destroy this ring. I will not allow it. Fuck you.
When I heard its voice for the first time, I was like, is that Guilty Spark?
No. I don't think he's like Guilty Spark. I think he just takes his responsibilities...
Where Guilty Spark was like, you're a reclaimer, I want you to activate the ring to defeat the Flood. This guy's like, and like Guilty's like, no, you have to activate the ring. This is the only way. Here's the solution. This guy's like, you're going to destroy the ring. I won't allow it. I will prevent you from from doing this. And it's like, dude, like, just hear them out. Like, Guilty was the same way.
Well, not really. He's a new Monitor. He came online literally that day.
Yeah.
He was literally activated that day, which is really strange.
The word eager is like he was such like he was such a punchable face by the end where I was like so excited when Guilty Spark. I was like, why are people excited that Guilty Spark died? He's a good character. And then I played through all of Halo 1 and I was like, oh, Guilty Spark's a bastard. He should die.
Yeah, he is. Oh man, Guilty Spark.
And then they brought him back.
Yeah, we don't talk about those books. They're bad books.
But the funny thing about it is like he is such like an ass. He is such like a raging asshole. He's like you're going to do something evil. I will stop you. And then you beat him twice. And then like the last mission is there. And he's like, she is going to do something. Please stop her. I don't want you to deal with this. Oh God, please stop her.
I have made a mistake. Let me fix it by helping you. And it's done well. It's like it's done so well. He's such a fun character.
I want more stories involving him.
No, I don't. I think we'll get to see him more in the DLC because we know we're getting.
Yeah.
We know we're getting a DLC.
It's called Halo: The Endless.
The Endless.
Infinity.
Yeah,
Endless,
and
okay.
the Harbinger is such an interesting villain.
She's interesting. She's
Some of the things
a
that she
little
says.
blown up.
Yes.
A little.
Some of the things that she does is like kind of insane. Like she does the logic plague, I think it is.
No.
To the
Nope.
Did you get the voice or the log where the guy like is fucking insane and they say, yeah, she talked to him for like 20 minutes.
No, that's just him like going through like, because apparently they do something like the way the Endless seem, because it seems like so much tied to time and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It might be that quite literally that she fucked with time with him present and kind of fucked with him.
Yeah.
And so like that's the way it sounds, is like that while she's talking, she's doing something else. Because logic plague only affects AIs. Because that's the
Well,
reason
the
why.
logic plague also resulted in the Didac.
No, it didn't.
I thought the Didac was a. Hold on.
The Didact is a character, like he's the Didact. He's the original Didact, and he's his main AI, not offensive bias, not Mendican bias. Is it Mendican bias?
No, it might be Mendican.
Mendican bias is the one that got taken over by the flood, and offensive bias is the dumb AI that couldn't be taken over by the logic plague, because it only affects smart AIs, because it's essentially a logic loop that makes you fucking like it's something
insane.
that like essentially goes insane. Yeah, but the Didact is, he was looking for a solution of how to fight the flood without losing his organic form, because that was the cost of composing yourself, was losing your physical biological form, and he didn't want to risk that with all the race and stuff like that.
Okay, no, so he just had a mutation.
Yeah, no, he tried a bunch of mutations to try and like prevent the flood from taking him and all that fun jazz, but whatever.
Well,
She was a fun boss fight for me. I beat her in 2 tries.
oh, the friggin' brute in that one though.
Killed me like 40 times.
No, she was so easy. Like, oh my god, like the brute chieftain on normal gave me more trouble than on heroic.
Oh,
Yeah, but no, the brute in that fight though, like during the, just sneaks up on you.
Oh no, for me in that fight, I was just on the ball the whole fight with all the spawning enemies.
so yeah, like
But-
those
But the thing is, the brute chieftain spawned, and I was just like, pulled up the hammer, I brought it in the room with me, and I was like, I got this, and I just fucking jumped over him, fucking bashed him over the back of the head once, twice, 3 times. Oh look, I'm done. Carried on with the rest of them, mopped them up, and then ran away from her, because I ran away from her like when that happened after that, because you can't use any other weapon other than a sword to really get her. You can shoot her, but you need to have that finishing blow. So I ran over, pulled out my battle rifle, pulled out the hammer, dropped it for an energy sword, spun around, battle rifled her twice. What's it called? Grappling shot her.
That's how I
grappling
finished her
shot
off.
her with the energy sword out, smacked her. She flickered away, and I dashed at her again with my thruster. Like, I was on fire when that happened. That was right before podcast, 3 weeks ago now?
Yeah, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, and I like legit, like when we were trying to start that, I was like trying to get through that as fast as possible. I was just like, yes, this is so, like, it's such a good final fight.
That was something really cool.
I do think that 2 boss fights are fucking bullshit, though.
I mean,
fuck
Brassius is a fucking crazy one.
Fuck Brassius.
Well,
Oh my god.
I mean, should we talk about the ending now?
So let's talk about offensive bias being deployed to Zeta Halo.
No. Hey, no, stop. Zip. Have you seen the legendary ending yet? Have you gone online to watch it?
Legendary
Yeah.
ending?
The legendary secret ending and stuff like that.
Hold on.
Like, you know how, like, at the end of Halo 5, there's the little pan down that showed you the ring?
Yes.
and how at the end of Halo 3's Legendary Edition, it was showing John slowly drifting towards the shield world that he would end up at.
Requiem.
I'm just gonna take a look at
Yeah.
it now.
Okay, here you go. So we'll watch it together because I like that ending. Dude,
It's really solid.
Dude, okay, so I looked up something, and I'm going to say something when we're talking about it.
I can't join that room.
You can't join the room?
No.
Why can't you join my room?
Because you gave us an invalid sharing link.
Oh. There you go.
Yeah.
Try that.
There we go. Alright, start us off. Oh, the fuck is this bullshit?
Don't worry about it.
What is this? This isn't Halo.
No. This is a Blender thing.
What are we? Were we being forced to
That
watch?
looks like just an ad.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
There we go.
There we go. This is the Legendary Edition. But okay.
This is... So the
No,
audio
stop.
of this...
Stop. Let Zip watch.
Okay. Let's start from the beginning.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
Okay, yeah, I did see
Okay.
that.
Yeah, you just
So-
but you saw it without the dialogue.
Right,
'Cause-
it's just the scene on Rook is literally just Atriax opening up and finding the endless cryptums that are spinning
Silaxes.
like clockwork. Silaxes, whatever. They're spinning like clockwork. But Zip, do you know anything about offensive bias?
No.
Zip.
Zip.
It said
Oh,
no.
okay.
we didn't hear you. Sorry.
Okay, so Mendican Bias was the original contender class AI created in order to fight the Flood, and he got turned to the Flood side. He's in Halo 2 as the entity that Cortana is struggling against in Halo 2. He is in Halo 3 as the being who communicates to you via the terminals, talking to you about the first Halo firing.
Yep.
Talks about his regret, talks about how he fucked up, talks about all this stuff. Offensive Bias was the other AI in that situation where he was created in order to stop Mendican. He is one of the only other Mendican contender class AIs. So he would never, like, the only difference between him and Mendican was Mendican interrogated the first Graveblind and got
Logic
attacked
plague.
by the... Yeah, he basically became the Logic Plague.
Yeah. Offensive
is-
bias is also a dumb AI.
Offensive bias is a dumb AI.
Yeah.
How is offensive bias a dumb
No,
AI?
that's literally how they end up. Like, because like Mendican Bias was like Cortana, a learning AI, like that could like adapt, change its programming to like help make sure it could get through things. That's what a dumb learning a dumb AI is. It's the reason why in Halo you have smart AIs that only have a 7-year, 8-year lifespan, compared to dumb AIs which have 20 or 30-year lifespans. The only reason why they have to cycle out is because after that point they become outdated, so they need to be shuffled out. On top of that, to have a smart AI in Halo, you need to have a human brain that's good enough to serve as the basis to make the matrix for the smart AIs. Mendican Bias and Offensive Bias are respectively smart and dumb. Mendican Bias, however, is so smart, is on the level of Cortana, but he can't adapt. He's really smart. He's really intelligent. He's got all these good things going for him. But Mendican is just he can adapt. He can learn. He finds new information. He changes his programming, and that's what made him so effective. Is because the Flood technically weren't winning, but they weren't losing the war against the Forerunners when they first started engaging each other. Then Mendican Bias started interrogating the Gravemind. Gravemind logic plagued him, and that's the reason why logic plague is so dangerous. Is it doesn't affect dumb AI, but it only affects smart AI. And that's the truth, is because if you can make somebody logically change his own programming to adapt to see your way, that's the point of the logic play, which is the way it should have been. But the problem is that we now have Mendican Bias potentially showing up in the game. By the way,
are you talking about how Offensive Bias is less creative and independent than Mendican?
Yeah,
okay.
He's literally a dumb AI compared to Mendican.
Because Mendican always calls him a dumb AI.
Yeah, no, that is.
He's always
true.
This guy's a fucking idiot.
It's true. It's not that he's an idiot. It's just that he's not as adaptive. He can't change his own programming. That's what Mendican can do. That's what Cortana can do. That's what all smart AI can do. Most don't because they don't want to risk it.
Well, if they show us if they somehow here's the thing. They have played around with the idea of showing us Mendican. They have played around with they've literally mentioned Mendican, because Mendican is there are forces of Mendican where he's mentioned said he's stopping Cortana, and then he becomes whole on the Ark, and he's communicating with you on the terminals.
Yeah, I know.
If they were this is Offensive Bias, this is who he is. He's here on this ring, and he's helping you, and he's actually talking to you. That would be kind of a big deal, and I hope they don't do that.
Yeah. There is also a big thing that's when you see that cutscene again, if you go back and watch it, it's year 99,830.
It's
literally right after the Halo rings have been fired. I think it was 100 years after which.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. It's really well done. So Atriax got transported back in time. Whoops.
I don't think Atriax got transported back in time.
No, he did. He literally did. That's what that scene was.
I think the video is present time.
No.
Hold on, let's look it up.
Go look at the scene and watch how it opens. It literally says.
Well, no, because the scene in the heroic version doesn't even say that. I don't.
Yes,
think.
I know, but in the legendary it does. That's the point of that scene. There's because the initial the heroic scene.
Hold
is
on,
just
Brendan, settle this for us. Does Atriax get teleported back in time?
I couldn't tell you.
Yes.
I don't think he does.
Yes, he does. No, go watch the legendary and look at the bottom left-hand corner. What does it say there?
I've seen that. No, because that's the audio from that timeline.
No, that's not. Because in the heroic, you want to know how it starts? Right when Atriax walks up. Because that's how the scene starts in heroic. It shows him striding, the camera shows him somebody striding up and putting the thing on. That's how that scene starts. Whereas in the heroic, it's got a voice dialogue above it. It's not, because if it was just said recording from X period, because then Atriax is still alive during the period of the Banished. Why hasn't he made recontact with the Banished while on the ring?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it would.
I think the implication is that he's still alive.
Yes, he is. That's the entire point of the thing.
I don't think the implication is that he's traveled 6,000 years in the past.
There's a reason why I say yes, it is.
What does BCE
before
mean?
Common Era?
Christ.
No, before Common Era.
Oh, okay.
BC would be before Christ, but since it's got E.
Yeah, because I'm looking at that video and it says Zeta Halo 97368 BCE.
Yeah. So that scene, that entire scene, because in Legendary and Heroic and all that stuff, it doesn't show that. It's a very quick scene. It kind of like, that's cool. That just happened. But then the Legendary adds this additional context to it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's just the audio, Allan.
No, it isn't.
Okay, well, we can disagree.
Why would you put, and this is a thing you need to ask, why would you put that statement there, Zeta Halo 97830 BCE?
Because it's the monitor talking to the Grand Edict.
Because then you'd be hearing, then they would put audio recording from X period, because there's no way that there's no way that dialogue.
I think I might have to take Alan's side on this.
Well, no, because then what you're implying is that Atriax, because this is taking place before the Endless are sealed away.
Yes. No.
So,
No.
yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
I'm not. I'm implying that the scene that you are seeing with Atriax is that period, that timestamp.
Okay.
Whereas the audio
That's a lot more logical.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying the audio is from that period. I'm just saying the audio doesn't the audio for that one is just additional flavor on top of it.
I think it's the audio that's that period, but that's me.
No,
I could be wrong.
Because you are wrong. Hang on, I'm gonna look up Heroic Secret Ending, Halo Infinite. I'm just looking for the after credit scene. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, I'm just looking at the scene from. Yeah, because in the post-credit scenes prior to this, it doesn't actually list the date. I'm watching it right now.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't list
That's not what we're arguing about.
Oh my word. In the heroic version, it doesn't list the date.
No.
And
it doesn't.
What would the context be for
what
this?
What is the only thing that changes now?
Two things change, actually. That dialogue overtalk, and then inclusion of a date.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you include this for your secret ending on a legendary? Because it can't be related to dialogue. It doesn't make sense for the dialogue.
Because offensive bias has been deployed.
Oh my god. No.
Because it's literally saying that offensive bias.
Yes, I know that. That's the context for that conversation between the Grand Edict and Despondent Pyre. Despondent Pyre?
Yeah, it's Despondent Pyre.
That's the scene for that. Whereas in Legendary, now we have a context for where Atriax is. Because we all assume that Atriax got killed the same time Cortana got killed.
I mean, I'm not saying that he didn't get transported, but because I don't think it's that time period.
Yes, and the reason why I think it is because we're 3 days in the future. They got cast forward 3 days in the future because of the silent auditorium. So why couldn't Atriax?
Why couldn't Atriax be sent back in the past?
Yeah. We know that because we know just from that overarching dialogue, just right there, time is a domain that we do not have control over, and the response from Grand Edict is, we can't let them have control. We can't let them have it either, and.
Do you think it might be possible that
they already had it? Because remember, if you go listen to the monitor conversations about for all the ring stuff, it's very. I think it's only been there. I gotta go find the monitor dialogues up.
But do you think it might be possible that we might go to the past?
I don't think we're gonna go to the past. I think Atriax is gonna get shunted back forward in the future.
Could it be a little bit of both?
I think that right now we're speculating and we're doing a lot of healthy speculating.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think that I'm on the side of I don't think that's the case, but at the same time, I'm not going to sit there and complain if they're we reset the entire timeline.
I don't think they're going to do that.
I don't think they're going to do that either. I think that like it's more likely than not. I think it's more likely that it's like the audio is that, but that's like my assumption. I'm just like, whatever. I don't really care. But like the fact that like they're saying like the big deal in this is like, okay, Atriax has freed the Endless. That's the implication of this cutscene. Is Atriax has freed the Endless.
Yeah.
The Endless are now freed.
Yeah. Thing that I'm, because we've now seen skimmers.
Skirmishers.
Skimmers. It's skirmishers.
Skirmishers.
Skirmishers are jackal things. Female jackal things, by the way. They're all female, which is great.
Yeah, I've noticed that. That's great. But like, we're also now seeing that, like, we're seeing the, what is it? We're also getting like information related to offensive bias being on the ring, which explains who saved Chief at the end, which should have been the Monitor saving Chief, but that's my personal opinion.
It's going to depend. Like, we know the offensive bias was deployed in response to the Endless. He might not have been on the ring when they were imprisoned as well. He might have been, because he might have been taken with them when they left the galaxy and stuff like that.
I mean, it would make sense if they do something where it's like, if they show us, if they somehow were like, yes, offensive bias was the one who was helping you, and Mendican was the one talking to you, or stopping Cortana on Halo 2.
They confirmed that. They confirmed that already.
Oh, okay, yeah. Then it's going to be kind of interesting. But like at the end of the day, it's like what do you do with like Forerunner AIs?
Yeah.
It's kind of like more interesting if they're just kind of like mentioned and kind of said like, oh yes, offensive bias is helping you, and just doing things in the shadows. That's kind of interesting.
It's going to depend, really, for the most part.
Yeah.
I think.
The Endless are going to be the big bad.
I don't think they're going to be the big bad, actually. I think they're going to be incorporated into the Banish, and they're going to be a big threat that way.
I think the Banish are probably going to be like, oh fuck, we fucked up.
No, because Atriax is releasing them. Why would the Banish turn around the guy that just freed them? On top of that, he refuses to bend to anyone. So like he's got such a gravitas about him that I could see the Endless joining him in response to like, no, fuck the Forerunners. They fucked over me. They fucked over the galaxy I'm in because of stupid bullshit, and their successors, the humans, fucked over the galaxy even more with other bullshit. So fuck them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and
I could see it where Atriax is like, I would like to be. I could see it where something where it's like Atriax is like, where it's a line that's mentioned where Atriax is like, I may have made a mistake, or something along the.
No,
I don't think it's going to be that way. That would be horrible writing. But like, it would be more likely of him being like something where something happens where it's like, oh,
no, because
because
if Eshram didn't make a miscalculation, and Eshram's his subordinate.
Yeah.
Like, I think everything that Atriax is going to do is going to be like, nope, this is what I first saw coming. I suspected this was going to happen. All right, we're going to run with it. And he works with what he's got.
Yeah.
But if what we're expecting with the Endless being a thing, I suspect that we're going to get a couple more missions. We're going to get a bunch more stuff. We're going to get to the fight Atriax. I hope to God we get to fight Atriax. But at the same time, I also hope we don't get to fight him. Because
I don't think Atriax should be somebody you fight.
I think he should be. I think he should be the last thing you fight.
I think it would be cooler if what they did was they were like. I think it would be cooler if they like somehow were like, Arbiter gets to fight Atriax.
No, God, no. No,
I love Arbiter.
I know, but he has nothing at all to do
in this
with,
game. No,
he doesn't have anything to do with Atriax. Like,
yeah, no.
Like, like bringing him in just to have him in is kind of like this.
Part of me hopes that like we don't fight Atriax for like at least like 3 or 4 games.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, we're finally ending Halo. Halo is going to be over. It's done. We're never doing another Halo game. We're just going to do shitty remakes, whatever. then they're like, okay.
I mean, if they do another Halo after this, I would rather them get away from Chief.
You wouldn't be able to do it. We saw them attempt it with Halo 5, and it was a bad game. That was the entire point of Halo 5 was to move away from Chief. It's the reason why Chief was only playable for 3 missions compared to Locke, which was, I think, 6. No,
it was
sorry,
a lot more.
7.
20s. Yeah.
It was.
I'm talking about like Reach.
Well, yeah, but Reach is its own contained story.
Reach is a spin-off game, and there's so much more interesting stories that you could tell in the Halo universe.
Yeah, and there are again, ODST is another good example.
Yeah,
but the problem
where's my ODST too?
Yeah, like I'm not saying they have to continue Master Chief's.
You want to move away,
do a
but
whole
the
new
problem
story
is that can't be your main thrust.
Yeah,
you got to remember ODST and Reach were side stories to the main thing. John has still been the main thing the whole time.
It would
Reach
be cooler if they
John.
adapted some of the books as actual games.
No, I don't think you could.
Like, that would be if they did like a couple of like. What I mean by that is like I agree with Zip where it's like I would like it if they actually like did some stuff with the Forerunner trilogy.
I don't know. Well, we tried that.
Like here's the thing: it's like the Halo universe is so vast and big that you could tell a story and it would probably be fine.
Yeah, but the problem is that you can tell a story, but for our gameplay, we want certain things.
Yeah,
and it's the reason why Locke didn't work.
Yeah,
it's the reason why, as much as I love ODST, I know for a fact you could not make a franchise off that thing. That's a side story that is meant to be an interconnection point between 2 and 3.
2 and 3, yeah.
Whereas Reach is the prologue to 1. That's what that is. That's what that is. Those what those 2 are. They're not even like super far spin-offs. They're just additions. They're tie-offs.
Well, like what I mean by like doing like a spin-off is like doing something where it's like. If you want to do something like ODST 2, you could do another ODST squad.
Yeah.
You could do an ODST squad encountering the Covenant.
No, I don't think that would work.
Like you could do a lot of things in the Halo universe.
Yeah, well, like that's the thing is like I wouldn't mind seeing more. Like again, Halo Wars 1 and 2 did this really well.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think moving away from Master Chief is the correct move. I think you need to have the Master Chief as your main thrust line of stories.
Yes.
Whereas the flip side to that is for your spin-offs, you need to have somebody who is somewhat tangentially tied to the Master Chief, but not directly involved in the situation with Master Chief. We saw this with ODST, where the ODSTs were dropping in as the carrier was leaving. That's how close he was tied. Like, it wasn't even like there was nothing related there to John. It was just like, yep, they're deploying to the New Mombasa to get this objective, and then situation went FUBAR. Reach, the only tying line there is Halsey giving Noble 6 the package to deliver to the Pillar Bottom. That's it. That's it. That's the only tying string. But it's enough of a string that like again, it's the same with ODST. That's the only tying string. Technically, the end of ODST has the other end of that string. But the entire game is like it's set here. It's very small. It's very compact. Same with Reach. Reach happens all in one continent and a little bit in orbit. It's all on one continent. Yeah, that's the fun part about Reach. All of the combat situations for the missions are all on the same continent, which is well done. Everything died. Even though I think the story's weak, but they all tie together. All the characters are mostly fun.
Don't you just love Allan? How he's like talking about something. How he's like, I love it, and then he's like, but I hate the story. And it's like,
no, I don't hate this story. I think it's weak. There's a difference between me. I love this, but this is bad, or I love this, but I hate it. If I love something but I hate it, you will hear me use the word I hate it. As much as I don't like the story, it's still good. Or it's still serviceable. Sorry, I'll use that correct word. I try to be very particular about my words when I come to my when I talk about games, because Halo Reach's story isn't really all that good. It's kind of bare bones. The entire point is just to serve like what the point of the mission is.
The entire point is to like just drag you along the way and watch and
but
have you watch the planet destroy.
And the moment you actually start to kind of like addressing stuff in the story, you're like, does this actually work? Whereas, like again with ODST mostly works.
ODST is the best Halo story.
No, that's 2. ODST has the second best story. Yes, I know. I bounce back and forth between those 2.
I would say it's like if Halo 2 is a 9.5 and ODST is a 10.
God, no.
The only reason why ODST is a 10 is because it's self-contained, whereas 2, they literally were like this is how the Halo trilogy goes. Big green man stop alien threat. Big green man encounter other alien. Big green man encounter space zombie. Big green man escape ring world. Halo 2 is like big green man fight aliens. Aliens suddenly have change of heart. Aliens start thinking that Covenant bullshit.
That's super oversimplification.
I am trying to do this super oversimplified.
I know, and it's not working.
Yeah, and then it's like, and then it goes back to big green men do as X. It's like the entirety of Halo 2 is like so perfect, and then Halo 3 is like a wet fart.
No,
and I like Halo 3's story.
Halo 3's isn't a wet fart. Halo 3's...
I like Halo 3's story.
Okay. No. All right. I don't want to go back on this rant because I've ranted about it enough in the show.
Oh, yes, we have.
Halo 2 is the best story. ODST is a very close second. Yes. Halo 1's is better than 3's. 3's isn't bad. 3's is like a 7. And then you have like Infinite. Like I put Infinite right just under 3, a little bit over 3. It's in that like range of area.
I would say Infinite's a 7.
And then you have Reach, 4, 5. And 5 is way down there. 4 is significantly better than 5.
I would say Reach is...
But
I would say if you don't care about if you don't care about Fall of Reach and Ghosts of Onyx, I would say Reach is a solid.
Well, it doesn't break Ghost of Onyx rules.
No, it just puts Spartans at Spartan 3s on Reach.
Yeah. And it's such an easy write-off line that it's you know how you fix that? Yeah, they're opted by Oni. You know, the guys who were funding the Spartan 3 program. I'm sorry, there were Spartan 3s just disappearing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Oni's involved. People are disappearing. No, the thing for me with this game, we gotta go back to Infinite because we're talking about Halo 2 and stuff like that. Story is overall good. Couple small hiccups. I don't think 6-month time gap was good.
6-month time gap does not make sense unless you somehow explain it as the ring doing X.
I think Brohammer is a little too whiny in some places.
Agreed. Brendan, do you agree?
Yeah, agreed, but
it's understandable, but it's a little grating. The weapon, I think she's such a weird character. I don't know where I should put her. Like
the weapon?
Yeah, I like her, and God, I hope she doesn't take Cortana as a name. God, I hope she doesn't.
That would be funny.
Because that's what the end of the campaign implies, is that she's going to take Cortana as her name. Because she asked, "Can I?" It's your choice. And that's the thing, and I'm like, you just witnessed that she committed genocide against the brutes. She wiped out all of Sydney, Australia, which is a major UNSC headquarters. She's effectively tried to establish a fascist dictatorship over everyone to establish the everlasting peace that she wanted to keep, and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, you don't want that name. She needs to be named something different. She really does.
I really hope that I really hope that they don't call her Cortana.
She's got spice and sass to her.
She's pretty close to. She's an exact copy of Cortana.
She's an exact copy of our Cortana that didn't.
Just more unsure.
Yeah, she's a young, nervous Cortana, and that's.
She's just like Chief said in the games, like that's Cortana if they
No,
never
that's
met.
what she says.
No, Chief says that.
Is it Chief who says that? I thought she
Chief
said it
says
because
it.
she was like,
No,
I'm
Chief
Cortana
says
if we never met.
Chief says she goes, I'm her, and he's like, yep, an exact copy. You're
Hang on,
Cortana if we never met.
Let me see this scene again. Because yeah, because an exact copy is the only option we had left. I'm watching the cutscene right now.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, it is Chief who says it because it's it's Halsey says we removed any information that compromise you. You're her if we'd never met. Okay. Yeah. All right. No, I thought she said it. I keep thinking that she said it. I have no problem. Like, she's not a bad character, but
She's
her
naive.
Her teeth. Every time she would talk, I would just stare at her mouth, and I'm like, those teeth. They look so out of place in that model.
I found her eyes wiggled a lot in the
That didn't happen.
cutscenes. Like I'm
Go ahead.
it might have been just me.
Yeah.
But like, and might have been just like a glitchy cutscene, but I found it like her eyes wiggled a little bit more than they should have.
Well, like I know people who, when they think, their eyes kind of like twitch back and forth naturally, and I noticed in conversation it's actually something that naturally happens unless you're really focused on something. And
It wasn't more so twitching. It was like
she had
her eyes
floating.
were just like a millisecond behind her.
Oh, you
face
had
model.
that issue? Really? That's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
I didn't have any. I gotta admit, I love this because I keep watching videos, people having graphical errors in Halo Infinite's campaign.
Dude, that's one of my complaints.
We're gonna talk about that in a minute because we're gonna finish with Cortana, we're gonna finish with the Chief, and then we're gonna carry on into
Chief's character is a lot better than Halo 5's.
Chief is actually a stoic, and Chief is
and Halo 4.
No, he's he's a mix between 2, 3, and 4. He's the best mix of those three.
Yep.
Where he's still got this kind of softer side to him as you see him in 4. You see this the stoic badass you get from 2 and 3, and they're all mixed together, and it's a much more healthy mix.
And Ashram is the best villain.
No. I'm sorry. As much as I love Etrim, he's not the best villain. Because while he's a really good character, he's
Don't
not
say truth.
No, God, fuck no. No, Truth in 2 is great. Truth in 3 is terrible.
Yes.
But that's the reason why Truth can't be the best villain, because they just kind of make him the zealous. But that's beside the point. Eshram's a great villain.
Mm-hmm.
I love that he manipulates the I can't remember her name now.
Harbinger.
Harbinger, yeah, thank you. Oh my God, I was thinking Foreteller for some reason.
Harbinger is a great character too.
She's a fun character. I am happy that you don't meet her till essentially halfway through the campaign.
Yeah.
Because that's where you meet her, is halfway through. Because you were I was going along, and it's well, maybe maybe the Banished are working with Cortana, but I was like, no, that doesn't make sense. And I'm just trying to follow along, and the way that they keep talking about it is her. And I was like, oh, it could be Cortana, it could be somebody else, it could be Halsey. Halsey could be that three-faced cunt that we've come to know and love. But I'm kind of sitting there no, they wouldn't do that, because everybody hated the fact they did that with Halsey in Halo 4. I remember that. I remember those discussions because I was like, no, it makes sense for her to do it. It also doesn't make sense for her to do it at the same time. So I actually kind of threw that up.
Yeah.
I remember those conversations, but I was just sitting there well, who could it be? And they did it so well, because it seems like it's leading up to Cortana, and then you get introduced to the Harbinger. And I love the fact that the Despondent Pyre, right before you meet the Harbinger, has that cutscene with Cortana being back to your spire, all that fun jazz. And I'm no, it can't. I was just sitting there there's no way it's Cortana. There's no way Atriax would serve Cortana. There's no way she'd risk that because Atriax is dangerous. There's no way she'd take that risk. But at the same time, I'm sitting there like, but this is Cortana we're talking about.
Yeah.
And that was my thing. I kind of sat there. I was hemmed-hawed back and forth.
Anyways.
Her introduction's great, by the way.
Anyways, I think that's a podcast.
No, we got to talk about the graphics. Remember?
Oh, the graphics.
The graphics, the thing that you need to complain about. Which I think, I almost guarantee you, I am the odd man out here.
The game looks fine.
The game looks great.
The game looks fine. It's just unoptimized.
No.
Yes.
No.
Fly a Hornet for 20 minutes.
I have.
I mean,
I've flown a Hornet
like-
for an hour.
Like I said, it's like aside from the odd like cutscene glitch
It has very little.
There is poppin' in that game, and it is
of course
bad.
there's no.
Oh,
It makes Mass
yeah.
Effect
No.
1 look good.
I was loading in on like the big mining laser, and I could really tell like, there is
optimization issues in that game where your
No.
frame rate goes from 60 FPS to a buttery smooth 24 cinematic experience.
No, absolutely not. Because this is how I know that it's only you and a couple of people having this problem. Although I suspect that because for
I'm
me,
95% sure I'm not a lot, just the only one.
no, I know you're not because I've seen people complain about this, but I've also noticed that people complain about it in very specific places. Specifically, that mining laser scene, where you're coming in from where you're coming from whatever angle, by the way, your character model comes in from an angle.
Yeah.
And then it snaps to a view. So it snaps into a cinematic that is, while real time, is popping in the more cinematic graphics and stuff like that. And you see it initially pop in. And it is actually the scene that I saw it too. But that was the only scene I saw it in.
There is moments in that game where literally I was flying around a sparrow looking for something, and I was like, I can't find it. And then I dropped down to maybe 50 feet, and the game was like, oh, I guess you gotta render this audio log. And I'm like,
no, I had none of that problem.
It's very hard to notice, but when you notice it, you're just like,
no. No. I actually had the I didn't have any of those problems because I don't fly super high when you're in the Hornet. You fly low to the ground because unfortunately Banshees like to swoop on you from below, and unfortunately the Hornet really sucks at bottom and up maneuver. So you need to be low to the ground so that when they swoop in on you, you can turn around and go up because you accelerate as you go up.
It's only a problem in the Hornet when you're up in the air, and that's the thing. Is
no.
Yes.
I would argue that the Banshee has the same problem, but the Banshee's problem is that because you're at such you move faster.
You're not going to notice it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the difference. The Hornet is slow. The Hornet is a slow vehicle, believe it or not. It's better to if you could get Banshees transported to you, I would use a Banshee everywhere I'd go because it's so much faster.
Yeah,
but you get the Hornet.
I agree with you. I'm not saying they're saying that you're wrong. The reason why I'm saying that the pop-in is an issue is because I'm saying, okay, go back to the beginning of our conversation where we said we like this game. We are nitpicking.
No, we're not. We're actually making fair criticism, and I'm disagreeing with you on this one.
Well, here's the thing. I've noticed the pop-in, and I'm running on an older rig, so it's
how much
it's
older?
Also.
When did you get your graphics card? Because I know you got a graphics card a couple years ago.
It's like a 1080, so it's.
I am running on a GTX
my graphics
1080
card.
as well.
Yeah, so I'm not.
Mine's a little bit newer than you guys. Mine's a 2080.
But I'm not saying they're saying there are issues with that game's PC.
Issues. I will say that.
And that's the
some.
thing. That's the thing that I'm not going to sit there and say the pop in the game is okay, it's bad, but it's not awful. It's not it's not a constant thing. Whereas Mass Effect 1 was
in weird
constant.
I can actually 100% say I had two bad pop-in spots.
Mm-hmm.
One was the fucking fortress in the valley, where you have to take down the gates and allow for traffic to flow again. That was one bad pop-in spot. The other one was Tremonius' base.
Yes.
because I'd sometimes pop back up there just to like explore around that area. And I know for a fact why Tremoy's base is such a bad pop is because the amount of like vehicles and stuff like that in the area. And the third spot is actually the valley between all 3 AA guns. There's a bit of a pop-in delay there, and that's just because of like the ripped up guts of the corvettes that are there and stuff like that. Or sorry, frigates. They're frigates there. And I think there are some optimization problems.
There is times where that game has just randomly like, I don't know what it is, but it like feels like it has like a memory leak where I'm watching the frame rate and it goes from
if it was a
60 to 24 to 10 to 9, and then it's just like, okay, when are you going to crash? And then it just crashes.
I had 4 crashes. Well, actually no, I was about to say I didn't have any
like
crashes.
it's not a constant.
I think I had one crash through my entire playthrough.
2 were in the same spot, and I immediately found out why. They happened on my death, and I think I know what happened. I do agree with you. I think it is a memory leak. And I think that's the biggest problem. Is I think there's some optimization related to memory, but on top of that, as much as I love this game, it's also an open world game.
Yeah.
And I think that's where some of the issue comes in.
And it's also a lot better of an open world than New Mombasa was.
No.
Because New Mombasa would lock you out, and you're going...
Well, yeah, but New Mombasa wasn't an open world.
Yeah.
That's the difference. A lot of people are like, well, New Mombasa is open world. Like, no, it wasn't. New Mombasa was filling between missions.
Yeah.
You weren't, like...
You're talking about
yeah,
ODST,
because you...
Yeah, okay, yeah, that...
Because you were...
Yeah, no, that's not really open world, because, like, open world, you can
explore.
Climb the buildings and, like, go...
Like, open world means that you have an area to explore. There's additional things besides the main campaign. It isn't just like, oh, you can climb buildings, you can climb the mountains. That's a very Far Cry open world style, which is what I think that Halo kind of like, that kind of works for Halo. But open world can also be like GTA, where you can't get in the buildings, you can't grapple up to the top of them or anything like that. It's a very open world because you have all this additional area to play in. Whereas another style of open world is God of War, the recent one, and a soon-to-be second one coming out hopefully this fucking winter. Fuck, I'm excited for that. Too bad it's on PS5.
PS5, I connect.
Put it out on Steam at the same time, you fucking cowards. That's another open world where there's a bunch of additional stuff on the side that you can do while you're doing the campaign. ODST's New Mombasa isn't an open world because there's nothing to do besides maybe go capture those dialogues. That's it. That's the other additional stuff you can do in that campaign. Yeah. That's it. There's no like exploration factor. There's no collectibles. You don't see another human in that city until you see Lieutenant Dare in the underground during a mission. Quite literally, during a mission is when you see your next human contact, and it's great. I love that. But that's the point of it. It's a city, and it's more like a detective case. You're exploring this little small area and piecing together a piece of the puzzle of what happened to your squad. That's the thing that's happening in New Mombasa. It's not open world. It's
a linear storytelling, holding your hand and leading you to a game.
Not holding your hand. It gives you some breathing room. It lets you like kind of like wander off, but you know where you're going.
Yeah.
Whereas Skyrim, open world, where the fuck am I going? You've got the objective somewhere over there. Okay, what happens when I get there? You'll find out when you get there. How do I get there? Go on your own, dude. And that's the difference. And that's what I think the difference between open worlds and linear worlds and then closed worlds are. Linear world is what
ODST is,
and technically New Alexandria Part 2 for Reach.
Yeah.
Because that is a bit of a closed world map. That is, even though it's a single mission, it's very you can go wherever you want. You can do everything out of order and do things in different ways and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas ODST is it's between missions, you're doing things. You get little cool side objectives where it's just like, hey, get through this go between a mission without firing your weapon once, or go between this spot and go through a mission and not have to use a med kit, or go through a mission and not pick up a Covenant weapon, or pick up use nothing but a Covenant. I think that one of them is just use nothing but a Covenant weapon. I don't know. Or additionally, don't turn on your night vision, which is an easy mission to do because you just go into the fucking when you do police station or you do Mickey's mission where you're in the zoo. You don't turn you never have to turn your night vision. But like Halo Infinite's open world, and God, I love it, but at the same time, holy jeez, my biggest
None
complaint.
of the content inside of it is actually necessary.
What?
You can literally just go straight to all the missions.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
I do recommend.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's kind of how I did it.
If you are going to play through the campaign and you just want to blow through the campaign, I recommend after you do the AA Island, doing some side missions to make sure that you have the Scorpion for that start. Because fuck that little bridge base. Oh my god, I hate it. Holy shit, do I hate it.
The bridge base?
You know how in like when you get off the island and stuff like that, you get transported to the next spire, but you can't get into it and you have to go through all four of those like little beacons?
Yeah.
Do the most west one, do the most north one, and then leave the last two to the south, and then do the easternmost south one, but leave that the southwest one alone, because fuck you, there's 3 wraiths there. There's 3, not 2, not 1, 3, and they will activate all 3 at once, and that mission can go. Man, I've literally when I first found out, because I kind of flew my Hornet over it, or the Wasp, or whatever the fuck it's called. I'm forgetting what it's called now. Flew over it once, looked down, saw a wraith, and I was like, I could probably take that. And I kind of spun around and I looked at it again. It's like, oh, there's 2 other wraiths there. I'm leaving. I'm gonna go get a tank for this bullshit.
Yeah.
Because that is.
I'm going back
I'm
for
gonna
a bigger gun.
Actual good gun for this. And oh my god, the wraiths in that game, they are pinpoint accurate. Holy jeez. But back on graphics. My biggest complaint for graphics is that the Wraith, the Phantoms don't have a blow up animation.
No, they don't.
Well, okay, no, they do.
I'm so happy you mentioned that.
The bloom is so bad because, believe it or not, I have seen actually, I think they recently did a patch where they patched that in. They patched in so the animation actually detonates and stuff like that. But oh my god, I'm so sad because it's just massive bloom and you lose track of everything. It's again, people keep going back to Halo 3 to compare Infinite to. And Infinite, that's the reason why I'm Infinite's on that par level with 3. It's got a really good campaign, solid multiplayer, but it's missing things. It's just short of that perfect hurdle of number 3. But the catch with it is that they've also got some funny graphical glitches. Most of which I've only seen in Halo multiplayer for Infinite. And that's the mini hog and the mini gungoose and the mini mongoose and stuff like that.
Oh, those are the best glitches in the game.
They're great. Oh my god. So it shows up. It's a little warthog that's a little tiny toddler bike thing. It's the size of a toddler's tricycle or something like that. And the Spartans get it and they look like they're all hunched up on top of it. And then and it functions it's on the scale. It's so great. Everything's shrunk down. The hitbox is shrunk down except for the Spartans, so you can kill the Spartans in that thing and not damage the vehicle. Mind you, you're gonna blow it up anyways because it's just so small. It drives at the same speed. The Mongoose Gungoose does the same speed. The only vehicle I haven't seen shrunk yet, or most of the vehicles I haven't seen shrunk. I've seen a Hornet standard size. I haven't seen it shrunk yet. I've seen the Scorpion and the Wraith standard size.
You keep saying Hornet. You mean Wasp, right?
Yes, I know. They're so they're interchangeable, and I hate that.
You say this, and now it's reminding me. Like I've watched a couple of YouTubers play. You ever heard of Cursed Halo?
We should do a playthrough of that.
No, we're not.
I was about to say I kind of want to do a playthrough of that.
Rudy, Blue Ruby's mod of Halo Reach Halo Reach 1, 2, 3. I don't think he did ODST, but he rebalances. Oh my God, Ruby Blue.
Rebalances all the weapons. Yes.
He rebalances like plasma rifle gets its slow back in every game. All the weapons actually get buffed. Like Needler isn't useless. The needle rifle isn't broken. Like a lot of the weapons get rebalanced in his game, so they actually have a purpose. Each campaign mission, he starts you off with a different armor system rather than just sprint, because sprint is the only good one. Minus armor lock, because armor lock is a fucking meme. You get like everything's really well done. He's rebalanced the space combat and Reach. He rebalanced the brutes in Halo 2 and 3 really well. You see the elites actually show up more. In Halo 2, he put human enemies in the game. He put human enemies on the the mission where you're the Arbiter going into the flood infested library or whatever it is.
Yeah.
He puts human enemies in there, so you fight humans there as well. So it's actually like a bit of a change up in what enemies you're fighting rather than just flood the whole time.
Yeah, okay. Can we wrap up a bit? I gotta go do my business.
So,
yeah, overall, let's finish this off with what do we think of the game overall in the end now? Zip.
I'd give it like about a 7 out of 10.
I would say it's an 8 out of 10. Maybe.
I'm in the middle. I'm a 7.5.
I think it might be the best game I played this year.
It is the best game I've played this year.
Yeah, it's nice to see Halo's back.
Yes. They got some work to do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's promising. They've got a good lead now.
Yeah.
There's other games I've played that I think I'd put higher, but I do see like this has been one of the best Halos in a long time.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you everyone for listening to the Black Man Games podcast. You can listen to us every Thursday on blackmangames.podbean.com. We'll be back with your regular episode in the next few weeks. Thank you, John. Thank you, Brendan. Thank you, Allan. Have a good night. Bye.
And that is a podcast. All right. And we're...
Now, by the way.
Yeah. No, in the opening cutscene of all...
I know Serena they get rid of, like, very quickly.
Yes, but that's more because of the situation in world. They stick to lore super hard with that one. But with Forge, it's all crew are nominal conditions, all those that remain, and it very casually pans over his cryo tank.
Yeah, hold on. I'm just watching this. 20 years since last known contact.
Yep.
I really hope to God. Oh, yeah. They literally show you Forge, just cryo.
Yeah, that is how they like make mention of him. Is just like this comment is just like, yep. That's how you're gonna remember. That's all you need. You don't need like huge you don't need to have constant callbacks because you've got work to do here.
Yeah, no, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
dude, Forge is like one of my favorite Halo characters because he's like the only human character outside of Johnson that's like actually like
interesting.
Yeah, like
Fun.
Johnson is interesting, and so is Miranda. But Miranda's character is literally like, I am the commander, and I'm a strong, independent woman, and like that's all she needs to be. Whereas like Forge is like, I can beat an arbiter, and I would have kicked your ass the first time. And it's like, damn it,
technically
man.
Johnson beats the arbiter, but that's beside the point.
Well, Johnson's like that witty, like he's if John is Captain America, Johnson is Iron Man saying fuck every 30 seconds. If that makes sense.
Anyway.
But I don't know. I like a lot of Halo characters, but Forge was the one that I was like, oh, I like this guy. He's really cool. Anyways, are we gonna let's sync?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sync in 3, 2, 1.